Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of It's Not All Rainbows. I'm your host, Lindsay Goodman. I'm a certified trauma recovery coach, and I'm also a survivor of abuse in a queer relationship. I'm here to help you figure out what's really going on in your relationship to help get you out and on the road to recovery. Today, I'm going to talk to you about what can be a very early red flag that might lure you in more quickly, but it's also something that can be very obviously an issue up front, can be hard to spot. Like I said, it might lure you in quicker. I experienced this several times from actually different people. I was just talking to a friend about this. So I am sitting here. It is 9 p.m. I have horrible lighting, so I apologize to everyone on YouTube because I just like am probably really foggy. But I really wanted to get this out before I forget or run out of time to create this for you. So before we dive in, let's talk about my struggles and successes for this week. Um, a struggle is that I'm realizing as we continue into my son's dad's new work schedule is that I feel like a really bad mom because the way that it's kind of set up. Um, I usually have my son for 8 days and then his dad has him for 4 days. And when his dad is home, he's not working. He just can like hang out with our son. But during the 8 days that I have our son, I work 5 days a week pretty much in some capacity. And then by the weekend when I have him, I like want to isolate. Like I just want us to be home because it's been such a crazy week. I want to catch up on cleaning. Because if you have a kid, you know that 5 days into having your kid with little to no breaks, it's fine. I love having him. Your house probably isn't as clean and organized as like you want to be to feel like you can relax at home. And I'm like, we need to relax. We need to just like whatever. And the weather's been yucky, so we like haven't gotten out as much. And so I just feel really run down and I am just like, I am being set up through really nobody's fault. I'm like, I'm being set up to just be a yucky, not that good mom because I'm like tired and my brain is foggy and he's talking to me and he wants to do stuff and I'm like, ugh. And it's just like, it's just another phase. It's just another thing. And basically, in time, right, it's okay to be in these phases like this, but in time, I need to start looking for ways to deal with that situation and to know like okay it's not going to change. You're going to have 8 days that are going to be feeling like you're hurtling through space on like an asteroid going a billion miles per hour with no stop, and then like I come to a screeching halt and my son's gone and then I feel bad because I'm like, did I spend enough time with him? Did I pay enough attention to him? Did I whatever? Anyway, you don't want to hear this. Isn't You're not my therapist, but that's been a struggle for me. A success is I got a lot of cleaning done today. That's going to be my success. It is my son's first day with his dad, so I just typically, like I said, I don't I do clean while he's here and he helps me clean too, but I just kind of like clean to get by, and then when he's gone it's like, all right, we're going to organize, we're going to clean, and it's just like kind of how I cope with like the first day of him being gone. So, I feel good. I'm ready to I'll probably clean some more tomorrow, and then I'm hoping Saturday and Sunday I'm just like I don't have to clean for a little bit. So, okay, so I want to talk about how very early on a person who might be coming into your life can guilt trip you for being around other people or guilt trip you for like not showing up on time or not seeming like you want to hang out with them enough and things like that. What that can look like, how it can make you feel, and why obviously that's not okay. Why they're doing that. So I'll give you a couple examples. I've actually had this happen more than one time in my life, which, like I said, I hadn't remembered the first person who did this to me. Um, Played this little card trick on me until a friend of mine was talking about an experience that she's had recently, and I'm listening. I'm like cleaning, listening to her like audio message, and I was like, okay, I've had this happen before, and it wasn't just like with my abusive ex, who's the one I'm usually giving examples of. So that example, this was like 2012. And there was someone that I sort of had just started hanging out with, and they were going to come over to my apartment. And it was really late at night. Like they had just gotten off work. It was really late at night. And I was like, sure, you can come over. We can hang out. I fell asleep. Okay. So this is like screaming red flags. I can't even, like, when I was telling my friend this, I was like, I'm going to, basically, I was like, I'm going to give you these examples that I experienced so that you can, I mean, she already knew that it was a bad thing that she was experiencing, but I was like, I'm going to validate you. And this is something that I just thought of. And so then like when I woke up, I saw like a million messages, and this person for some reason chose to like sleep in their car outside my apartment, but at the same time they were texting me and calling me and like guilt tripping me. They're like, you invited me over, but then like you just completely ignore me and I'm outside and like, did you fall asleep? And like, how dare you? And it was just this really like weird guilt trippy thing. And I like barely knew this person. They were actually my mentor, my sign language interpreting mentor when I lived in Florida. And so like first of all, you probably shouldn't be like trying to date people you're mentoring, and also like completely inappropriate behavior. You're older than me. You have like um not privilege. What's it called? I can't think of the word in English. Like you have a leg up on me in life. I can't think of the word. You're probably thinking of it right now, screaming it at me through this speaker, but um you you have power over me. There's the power dynamic. There we go. Like you have power over me. Like you shouldn't be seeking me out, but here we are. Um, and they were just like so mad and like guilt tripping me and just throwing this huge fit. And I remember like I woke up and I was like, "You're still here?" And they were like, "Yeah." And so I came outside and I was like, found them in their car and I was like, "You can come in if you want." I fell asleep. Like I didn't mean to. And they were like, "Oh, I was sleeping in my car, just like." I'm like, why wouldn't you just go home? Like, if it was just me, I'd be like, oh, I guess they fell asleep, or I guess they changed their mind. Like, I don't really know this person. I'm just gonna go home. They're just like waiting outside for me. That's like not okay. That's like outrageous behavior. Someone you just met, or even if you've known this person for a while, that is outrageous, right? Um, and then the other one was, and I've talked about this before, was when I first was hanging out with my abuser and my friend's teenage kid was like, "Hey, can I come over later today?" Because like she was having problems with her parents. And I was like, "Yeah, sure, you can come over." Thinking like when I was with my ex-husband, we had mutual friends, we had friend groups, different ones. He had friends, I had friends. Like we just like if he came home from work, even if we hadn't spent time together for a while and a friend was there, he would never be like, "How could you have someone over tonight?" It was just like, "Oh, someone's here. There'll be another chance for us to have like dinner together and have a conversation, or whatever." Because we were just like chilling and we had lots of friends, and that's completely normal for me. And I like never really thought that, even though I've had like other people that I've had to deal with this kind of behavior with, like I never really thought that someone would be mad at me for having friends or having people who wanted to like spend time with me. And when I was like, yeah, sure, you can come over, my abuser stormed off, left, didn't talk to me for a while. I had to reach out to them and be like, what's wrong? What's going on? And they were like, I thought we were on the same page. I thought we wanted to hang out tonight. I thought it was just going to be you and me. If you want to hang out with her, then like, go ahead and hang out with her and blah, blah, blah. And what happened in both of those situations, which if that happened to me now, I would be like, that's weird. I've known this person for forever. If you don't like that, you're gonna have to go home and work through that on your own. I don't even want to hear about it. And with the other one, that's weird. I barely know you. I fell asleep because it's midnight. You shouldn't be coming to my house anyway. Okay. The fact that you slept in your car and complained 100 times that I wasn't available, you're like even adultier than me. I don't know. Age isn't always a thing, but it's just like, no, that's weird. But both times I felt guilty. I felt like I had done something wrong. And I was like, oh no, let me fix this for you. Let me help you. So obviously, like I said, this is probably something that's going to happen very early on. I'm wondering if a lot of you listening to this might be remembering something that happened, whether it's like a big, like obvious, not obvious that you'd be like, oh, this person's abusing me. This person's trying a tactic on me, but like an obvious, like huge ordeal that they stir up, or maybe it was more subtle. And I'm not going to give the example that my friend gave me, but in her example, it was like, oh, and then like when the person finally saw me after XYZ happened, they kind of were like joking around about it and like being light and funny and blah, blah, blah. Um, so that can happen too, where they throw a huge fit, they make a big deal out of something, and then when you go try to address it with them, they kind of laugh it off and they're kind of like, no, I'm just like, maybe they get a feeling that you are kind of put off by it, and you're like, I don't really like this behavior. And then they're going to be like, oh, I'm just kidding. Like, it's totally fine. I understand you fell asleep, or I totally understand that your friend's like whatever, but they're actually mad and they already threw a huge fit, and you're just kind of confused about their behavior. And both the confusion about their behavior and the guilt tripping, like all of that stuff, can cause you to lean in further, unfortunately, if you're not able to catch it as a red flag, like many of us can now. And I'm not trying to be like, I'm so smarter than you. Like, I just told you this has happened to me several times, so I don't want you to compare. That's not what I'm doing here. But unless you know to be like, no, you're gonna want to problem solve. You're gonna want to be like, oh no, I did do something wrong. I guess that was really disrespectful of me to fall asleep, or it was really disrespectful for me to like tell my friend that she could come over without like asking, like, hey, did we have plans tonight, or do we like whatever? Which, come on, I don't know you. I barely have hung out with you. We shouldn't already be like in this weird place where it's like, can I have a friend? Can I hang out with like should never be in that place where you're like, can I have a friend? Um, I'm sorry. So just really yucky. It is a way to lure you in. It's a way to really kickstart that trauma bond going because you're already like, I can remember feeling very early on, which is very strange for me because I'm really not. I'm not a people pleaser. I can be a people pleaser, or there have been times that I like with my family, but I'm not the kind of person who's just constantly like, oh, I just want to help you. Oh, I'm not like a fixer upper. I don't really want a fixer upper, but apparently I with a fixer upper and thought I don't know what. Anyway, you know what I'm saying, right? But like it wasn't really like me to be like, oh no, let me fix this. But the tactic worked to where I was like, oh no, I constantly felt like I was doing something wrong and then trying to like backpedal and trying to fix it and trying to help this person like with their like, oh my gosh, I guess I didn't realize that this wasn't something they liked or whatever. So you're just already walking on eggshells. You're already trying to figure this person out. You're playing the game with them. You jumped in that double dutch that they were holding up for you and you cannot get out of it. And it's so early on and you don't know that you're in the double dutch, but you are in it. And it's not fun and it's very hard to get out of it. So another thing that I wanted to talk about with like the laughing off thing, which could be a complete other podcast at this point, is something that I also shared with my friend was when my abuser at one point we were playing a chess game and I was winning, and the moment they realized that I was winning, they like jumped over the table and like tossed the chessboard across the room. And I remember sitting there like watching, it was like the world slowed down like in a movie. It was just like whoosh, and like watching each chess piece like settle to the floor and then like slow motion looking at them like what the fudge was that? Because again, this was like early days. This wasn't in like the first couple weeks where like we'd stay up and have drinks together after my son went to sleep and we would play games and we were like quote unquote bonding and like watching movies and like that was our special time, quote unquote. When in reality it was just them like trying to reinforce the trauma bond and all that fun stuff. And I remember just looking at them like, why would you do that? I was like, I was winning. Like that's not cool. I'd never seen an adult do something like that before. And I remember at that time oh no, I just showed my true colors. And so they like playfully dove over and were like, I was just being silly. I just was like, I don't want to play anymore. Let's you know, and started trying to initiate like intimacy and stuff because it was like, oh, I'm gonna distract her. So beware of somebody who's showing these like really immature behaviors, like throwing fits about things, but then laughing them off. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, like I'm gonna use my son's dad as an example. I know I mention him a lot and give examples, but I don't really talk about our relationship because that's not what I'm here to talk about. But he's like someone who's in my life that this like I could potentially have like an issue with or whatever, or I could be my mom or whoever, but like if for example I get upset with him and I say something to him like, you showed up late today. Our son was waiting for you and you didn't pick him up for an hour. Like, where were you? I'm just frustrated because he was so excited. He hasn't seen you in a week. Like, what's going on? And then he's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm not really mad at you. Although, like, to be fair, that's actually a legitimate thing to be like, I'm concerned. Like, where were you? Could you next time send me a message so I can explain to our son what's going on? Like, so that's a bad example. I don't even know what, but for whatever reason, I get mad. Pretend it's like a ridiculous example. See, I can't even come up with an example because I'm not going to do that. To laugh off something that is so immature and so ridiculous and so roller coastery, where you're like, I'm not sure what's happening here. I'm not sure if your reaction. I'm not talking about gaslighting somebody. You know what I mean? Like, we're not gaslighting you. We're not saying like, oh my gosh, well, it wasn't that big of a deal, whatever. But you're legitimately looking at this person like, You just went to level 100 over me showing up 10 minutes late when I was commuting across the city and like told you that I was going to be home between 5 and 5:30. And you're really mad at me and you're accusing me of this and you're accusing me of that. That reaction just doesn't make any sense, right? And then they're laughing it off. So that is something that can really be a huge red flag. And then obviously the actual topic of this conversation is that getting really mad at you for showing up late, or it's just like not complying in the way that they want you to, even though it was like you're just being a human. Like if you paid attention to the two examples I gave you, I fell asleep because it was late, and a friend asked me if we could hang out. That's too just being a human. Neither of those things was disrespectful. And if you're listening to this and you think it is, think again, please. That's just me being a human. That's just me living, period. So to have those kinds of like, oh, I'm gonna guilt trip you, oh, I'm gonna cause this problem, I'm gonna whatever, they're testing your reaction. They're testing to see if they can get you to come out and grovel and apologize. They're gonna hold it over your head. Oh, you remember that time I thought we were gonna have this really great date night, which by the way, they haven't said anything to you about. You have never talked about doing anything that night, or like whatever it is. And you said that person could come over and hang out, or you whatever. So you know what, next time I'm not even going to plan anything, because for all I know you're going to invite someone over, right? They're going to hold it against you. Again, they're testing you to see how you'll respond to those kinds of things, and it's all done, it's all just part of the game, and it's really yucky, and nobody needs to be dealing with that. So if you're out here dating, a lot of people, I know a lot of people come out of abusive relationships and are like, I'm done, I'm not even gonna like again, 2.5 years, I'm just now getting to a point where like I can probably could talk to someone, but like I don't know. And a lot of people are like, it's been 5 years, it's been 10 years, I don't want to, because we're just so effing tired and we don't want to deal with it. Some people will go back out there and date, and they'll start to like, they might be getting into something again because I mean, sometimes you haven't taken the time to heal. I don't want to be like judgmental, be like, well, you didn't heal, so it's like your fault. That's not what I'm saying, but like you might just fall. How do I say this? It's the patterns, right? Like we grew up with a pattern like this at home. The pattern's still there, and so you're like doing it, and then a lot of times people be like, wait, wait, wait. Okay, I was getting into that and I was falling for that, but now I'm starting to really see some red flags. Um, wow, my chair is really squeaky. I apologize. Um, I don't know where I was going with that. I don't even remember what I was saying. It's late. I should go to bed. I have to get up early tomorrow, but I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I hope this was helpful. I'm sorry that I just like tapered off there. No idea what I was gonna say. No idea if it was helpful or not. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thanks for listening. Oh, I was basically saying I hope that like if you are talking to someone right now and you realize that that's happening, or it's happened to a friend, like your friend just called you and told you that they experienced with this with someone, I hope this is helpful. And again, if it's something that you went through, like I told you, I remember how it was with my abuser. I totally forgot about that person from 2012 until I was like, hmm. So I hope that this serves to help you um, dig up and release some of the things that might have been hiding in there, because we really do have to release those things so they don't keep living in there. Anyway, that's all I have. Please go do something nice for yourself, drink some water, and I'll be back next week with more.